Hi there, Nicole Lang here, and I am thrilled that you're here because I have no doubt that my IVF Insider course is going to change absolutely everything about your IVF for the better. And I mean everything. We're going to up your odds of getting viable embryos, getting pregnant, and ultimately having a healthy pregnancy, baby, and life beyond IVF, which I know are goals 1, 2, 3 to 100. And at the same time, we're going to tend to your oh so important quality of life, mental health, and physical experience right here while you're in the thick of IVF too. And spoiler alert, these two things aren't unrelated. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. This course is the future of the very best IVF care and outcomes. And I realize that that is a pretty bold claim, but I've exclusively done this work since 2006, and I've got the results to back it up. My private practice has unbeatable fertility outcomes for both babies and the women and people having them. And this course has all the lessons I've created and honed over all these years because I want you to have your very own amazing IVF outcomes too. So let me break it down and show you exactly how, starting with what you know. I call the way most people go through IVF the typical path. And on the typical path, it's very doctor-centric, piecemeal, and quite honestly, outdated medicine. We know both intuitively and scientifically now that this kind of medicine quite simply isn't best practice. For example, we know better outcomes happen when we treat the mind and the body together and integrate. We know that things like patient education and engagement, compassionate care, and confidence speed up and improve results. And we know that people suffer fewer complications and less trauma, anxiety, and depression along the way when they're seen and heard. We also know that in the times when things are extra hard, like in the thick of infertility care, it's even more important to honor the person at the heart of this medical experience. And don't get me wrong, IVF is absolutely amazing and often medically necessary. I could literally nerd out all day. But it's just that how IVF is typically done on that usual path isn't the best we could be doing. There's way too much unnecessary confusion, overwhelm, and high-level threat. There's too many avoidable setbacks, sucker punches, and complications, and there's way too many people coming out of IVF worse than they need to be. You deserve better because IVF is literally one of the most personal and important things that you may ever do in your entire life. The very best care is what you crave, and the very best outcomes is what you deserve. Instead of just hopping on the conveyor belt of that typical path and doing IVF cycles in an outdated, less than ideal way, this course is going to add 2 essential layers that are going to serve you so much better. Number 1, IVF-specific empowering education. Now, on the typical path, you are left in the dark doing your own IVF research. The internet is going to serve up confusing, often inaccurate info, or worse, personal opinions. And it'll also fill your brain with worst-case scenarios, unrealistic expectations, and really unhelpful, unhealthy comparisons. Your clinic probably expects you to do what they say without asking too many questions, which makes sense when they're focused on your bits and parts alone, but that's not very you-centered and integrative, and it creates a huge amount of exhaustion and high-level threat, which hurts you and your IVF cycle. Enter IVF-specific empowering education. I've been teaching people how IVFs work for a very long time, and I'm going to teach you how to understand IVF protocols, timelines, anatomy, and science in bite-sized, evidence-based, easy-to-digest lessons. Along the way, I am going to cover an absolute hit list of IVF-specific worries: giving yourself shots, OHSS concerns, how to improve egg and embryo quality, how to nail your bladder prep, ways to troubleshoot lining issues. And if you're like, what is OHSS again, Nicole? That's okay. I promise all this info will be well-paced and worth learning because the bottom line is clear. Fabulous, evidence-based, IVF-specific empowering knowledge for you is great for your whole mind, body, life, and IVF outcomes altogether. Number 2, big picture protections and improvements. you've probably got a not so quiet voice in your head shouting at you, "What else can I do? Have I missed anything? How can I make this cycle work?" And that voice is totally normal. Of course, you want to do everything and anything in your power to get through IVF and infertility ASAP. This all sucks. Sadly, if you're hanging out on that typical path, this voice inadvertently feeds into unhealthy and unhelpful choices that are extreme and misguided. Like trying to force yourself to stay positive even when things are hormonal and legitimately hard. Making extreme and unnecessary dietary and lifestyle changes that stress you out. Beating yourself up for not being perfect. Ironically, these things all add to the exhaustion and put you from threat level red to threat level midnight. If you know, you know. Threat level midnight is the last place your body wants to say yes to pregnancy, which is the worst because you're trying so hard and all of this is coming from a good place. So, in the big picture protections and improvements part of the IVF Insider course, I'm going to help you put your amazing internal overachiever to good use by helping refocus her on moderate and appealing reframes and ideas. We're going to help your body see that it is safe and it is officially time to say yes to a pregnancy. I'm going to teach you how to better tolerate hanging out in the limbo of the unknown. You'll learn how to honor and express and work with all your emotions, including hormonal manipulation hormones, instead of trying to pretend like they're not there and just stay positive. Ooh. We'll even reframe stress and pressure in a way that's going to have you feeling like an IVF champion instead of guiltily stressing about your stress. Imagine how awesome that alone is going to feel. We're going to cultivate abundance and sanity and build up your buffers instead of wearing them down. And I can't stress this enough. It's gonna up your odds. So that's it. It is so easy, and I'm convinced that the only reason anyone would possibly take the typical path is because they don't know there's another way. But now you know. It's so much better, and it's all right here. I'll say it again. The IVF Insider course is the future of the very best IVF outcomes and infertility care. Thanks so much for watching. I'm so excited to be on your team. So sign up and I'll see you in the course.